Welcome to the Forward Think Tank podcast, a place of hope, inspiration, and education around holistic health and healing. I'm your host, Jamie Mazza, a holistic health coach, mental health advocate, and dancer. Join me as I share out-of-the-box conversations with integrative doctors, healers, and exceptional forward-thinking individuals thriving on the other side of their health challenges, as well as stories from my own personal healing journey. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so happy you're here. Hyperbaric oxygen chambers, or HBOT, has been one of the most supportive tools in my healing journey. Why? Because cancer cells thrive in low oxygen environments, and the delivery of oxygen via these chambers help to arrest these cells in their tracks. Not only that, but these chambers can also be used for recovery from surgery and general health maintenance. The best part? You can test this machine out from the comfort of your own home. When I started working deep in the metabolic approach, I was often so overwhelmed trying to make sure my ketones were high enough and glucose was low enough to enter the chamber and maximize the impact, and instead found myself more stressed than ever going back and forth to the wellness clinics only to find out I wasn't in that sweet spot to take a dive. After doing some research, I discovered an amazing small business called Affordable Hyperbaric Solutions. They're based in Colorado and they provide exactly that, hyperbaric chambers for an affordable price to rent in the comfort of your own home. This entire team has been so kind, resourceful, and flexible, getting me a chamber in my home that I can use at my own leisure. They even have rent-to-own options if you love it. I love supporting a small business with a big heart. If you are interested in a chamber, check out the episode show notes to get in touch with the company and be sure to mention my name, Jamie Mazza. I promise they will take great care of you and you will love it. Thanks for tuning in, friends. So happy you're here. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Forward Think Tank. This week, in light of the Thanksgiving holiday, if you're in the US, I am doing a solo episode and I am being raw and real. If you are going through a health challenge and you've ever had the silent thought to yourself, I can't do this anymore, or maybe you've sat in a doctor's office or gone into the bathroom in the waiting room waiting for your next appointment or scan or lab work and just had a little cry to yourself because you're tired of being strong all the time, this episode is for you. Let me be honest, somebody who is still healing every single day, there are moments, especially lately, where I can feel this way too. And as somebody who is notoriously not patient, always wants to know what's ahead and have certainty and see what's on the other side of decisions. These last 2 years have been the most challenging mentally, emotionally, and physically and draining of my entire life. However, I do keep finding that perseverance in myself. I wanted to be very careful with my word choice. I was going to use the word strength, but I don't always feel strong. And I bet you don't either, whether that's physically, emotionally, whether that's socially. It's easy to feel in these situations like we're broken or the cards are just not in our favor. And I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer with this episode, but as somebody who has always been a very straight shooter and very direct, this episode is something that I feel is needed. I'm almost 45 episodes deep and I've had some incredible conversations. And for a moment in time, I was like, oh, this feels really good to move away from the topic of cancer, to move away from like all the healing and all of the stuff while I'm still in it. And this episode is for people who are keeping it real and for people who maybe could use a little boost right before the holiday season. Everybody who's walked a complex healing journey, especially if it's something you've been doing for quite a bit of time. I think we all reach a breaking point where we feel like we can't do this anymore. But it's often when we feel that breaking point, there's a shift waiting right on the other side of that thought, right on the other side of that feeling. So keep listening. It's important to do a mental health check on yourself. If you're somebody who can recognize your patterns and recognize your emotions, great. If you're familiar with how to get yourself out of those patterns and emotions, amazing. Dealing with a chronic illness, it can feel a little bit more daunting to take care of yourself all the time. I think it's really important to have a strong support system, whether that is a trusted friend and someone you can talk to, therapist. I know my therapist has been a game changer for me over the last 5 years with a lot of things that have gone on in my life. I do feel like I'm at a point where I'm strong enough for the most part to redirect my focus. But there are moments where I also feel like I reach out to her and say, "Hey, can we set up a session? Can we?" Because we're human beings and we're not meant to do it all on our own. This journey is isolating enough. Sometimes it can also be a bit depressing. There are so many things that I wanted for my life that I thought I would have at this point, like a family or a larger home or a really successful job. And I've had to learn what feels like the really hard way that all of that could fade away very quickly. And what is the most important thing? The most important thing is, to me, feeling well enough in my body and in my mind to be able to enjoy life. Because let's be real, nobody knows how long we're going to be here. Nobody has the roadmap. Nobody knows how the story's going to end. But I think it's the quality of what's happening in all those chapters between now and that point that make a full life. Check in with yourself. Name the feeling of what's going on and what's coming up for you. Are you frustrated? Probably. Are you sad or fearful? Okay. Yes. Like those feelings are all warranted in the moment for, whatever is going on in the given context. Maybe you have a scan coming up and you're full of anxiety. Maybe you have an event coming up where you're worried that you need to get through all of it energetically. I mean, these are things that I've totally lived. But mind yourself that while you're feeling one feeling, the polar opposite can also be true at the same time. I think it's good to ask yourself what else can be true in this moment. You can be exhausted and you can still be brave. You can want to give up and still have hope for healing. You can feel defeated and still have a vision for a very happy, healthy future. Those things can live in parallel at the same time. And I think it's important to honor your feelings and what's coming up for you. And as much as you can, try to give that emotion that feels like it's burdening you its time and its space. So its start and its end. If it's around that scan, okay. And like let it go and physically shake it off when that scan is over. And then change your focus. I was just saying to a friend of mine, I feel like dusting myself off is becoming an Olympic sport. Just like picking myself up, peeling myself out of bed if I'm tired, putting on the makeup, getting on camera, being with friends, doing all the healing things. It can feel like a lot. And I think that's completely validated and normal. But shift to what is happening in the now. And I think what I've learned about the nervous system and the healing process, our brains are constantly listening to every thought that we have and reacting. And our body always wants us to heal as much as it can feel like, oh, I'm frustrated because I'm not at this point, or I'm not where I thought I would be on this journey, or I haven't hit that benchmark, or I don't feel how I used to feel last year. Sometimes you're comparing yourself to a version of yourself that didn't know this storyline of yours. So when you're comparing yourself to your pre-cancer self or your pre-diagnosis self, it can feel really defeating to try to measure up to that. Because truthfully, there may be parts of you that get back to that, but you are in a state of evolution. You're in a state of healing. If you believe that in your core to be true, there's going to be a lot of shifts and a lot of changes. And maybe you have to be okay slowing down. Maybe you need to be okay in, a quieter environment. Maybe you need to be okay taking more breaks. But I think the gentler you can be with yourself, the better it's going to be received on your nervous system. And your nervous system, we heal when we feel safe. So how can you create safety for yourself in any given moment of the day? Maybe that is taking 5 minutes, and I'll link one of my favorite meditations by Gabby Bernstein that I found in the beginning of this healing journey. 5 minutes. Sometimes I listen to it on speed. Sometimes it ends up being like 3.5 minutes, but The premise of it and a message that she keeps repeating is all is well, all is well. And sometimes I've said that to myself out loud, even if you don't believe like it's true in that moment, all is well, or I am safe. I'm safe right now. Our brains can jump to conclusions and can get us really worked up into the future. But when we take a step back and slow down, and look at the facts or look at the present moment, we can always reach for something that's going to bring us a little bit of comfort and peace, maybe a little bit of joy. And remind yourself that you're worthy of that joy. You are worthy of happiness. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of all the good things that life has to offer, even when you're in a situation that feels so dark and so murky. And sometimes like you can't see your way out of it. I think this goes without saying, but be ridiculously gentle with yourself when you need it. And again, as somebody who is notoriously not patient, who used to have boundless energy, I used to leap out of bed. I used to get myself moving first thing in the morning, always had like a good workout in, got my sweat in, was able to manage multiple things at once and like have this bandwidth and truthfully probably burning myself out in the process now that I think back and reflect on it. But I always had this like boundless energy and was always super excited and was able to manage a lot of projects at once and just felt like I was always in a good flow with my body. So having to slow down a lot and having to really tune in and just check in with my physical body, ask it what it needs. If it needs a nap, if it needs something like getting outside, and I'm going to name some things that, maybe costs a little bit of money if you have the access to take care of yourself in that way, but also things that are completely free. So taking a nap, resting, completely free. Getting outside and grounding yourself. And I've noticed this, especially as the winter months have started to come around in the Northeast, where the days are getting shorter. We're not spending as much time outside. That little natural mental funk is starting to come up for me. What I've been doing, even just for 5 minutes, is taking a page rather out of Dr. Zach Bush's book and getting connected to nature, getting outside, even when it's 3 degrees outside, putting my bare feet in the ground and taking in the energy of Mother Nature and letting that recharge me. Even a minute or two can make a profound difference on your entire system. The more you can get out in nature, the better you're likely going to feel. And hey, guess what? You know what? If you don't have the energy or the ability to go for a walk right now, go sit outside in a chair. Like open the window, just stare outside. Figure out the minimum effort for the maximum benefit. Getting in touch with nature is one of the best things that I feel that I have done that I feel like we all need and we are all lacking in this modern world. Something for me that always changes my state is movement. On the days where I felt like I couldn't move, it was music, listening to healing frequencies and sounds that have the energetic frequency to change the physiology in your cells and encourage healing and promote well-being. Like there is a whole science to this. Um, things that have been helpful for me, especially post-op, acupuncture has been incredible. I've shouted out my acupuncturist multiple times. She's been an absolute asset in my journey for many years now. And she's somebody that I trust and I believe in her work. I believe in Chinese medicine. I believe in the way she looks at the body and certain systems and emotional healing and all of that. So finding the right people and the right healers can feel exhausting, but sometimes if you do a little bit of work or ask people for recommendations, again, if you have the resources to do things like that, can be incredibly helpful. I started going to physical therapy and I had to advocate for myself because my surgeon was telling me I didn't need it, but yet I was draining my cup every single day, crying in pain. And I had to advocate for myself. I've been going to physical therapy now for a little over 2 months, and the changes that I've felt in my physical body, I can see this little seedling of hope. I can see the improvements in my breath, the improvements in my posture and my strength, in my mental resilience. And that for me goes such a long way. And find those micro moments of joy. Something that always cheers me up is getting on FaceTime with my sisters and my little nieces and nephews. They're hilarious. They are just like pure happiness. They're playful and they're full of like giggles and silliness. And I think when something feels so serious and can stir up so much emotional charge in a negative way, it's important to balance that out with play and silliness, whether that is creativity, getting out your coloring book or playing an instrument or anything, cuddling up with a pet, snuggling up with a loved one, learning a new hobby, whatever that is, finding those little micro moments of joy. It's kind of like threading all the fabric together of life, right? And then reconnecting to what's possible. And while things that you may have hoped for in the past may have changed in the way that they look now, there's still possibility out there. And I think the strongest, most powerful tool we have in our tool belt is the power of our mind and the power of our belief system. I've been doing a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations. I think I've mentioned that more than once on these podcasts. And it really helps me reframe and look at some of the thoughts and behavior patterns that I've been living in. And those all shape who we become. So if you're looking to heal your body, you're looking to have a better relationship with yourself mentally, to create change, that change starts within you. So examining your beliefs and looking at what's true for me now. Where may healing still be unfolding? Patience, it tends to come up for me over and over again because I can be really hard on myself. And when I zoom out and I look at myself like I would a friend, I'm like, oh my God, why are you putting all this pressure on yourself to be who you used to be pre-diagnosis? Like, that girl doesn't exist anymore. That girl has gone through a lot of traumatic things, and that girl deserves to have her hand held and squeezed and hugged and kissed and embraced, because the healing journey isn't easy. And it's not linear and it's not straightforward. There's no clear plan of in 2 months, X is going to be different and everything's going to be dramatically changed. I mean, yes, that is possible. And I choose to believe that all of that is a possibility for me. But what are some signs of progress that you may have overlooked? And for me, doing something like physical therapy, I can see the difference. When I started going to physical therapy, I had no movement in the right side of my rib cage where I had some pretty invasive surgery. 2 months later, there's a ton more movement. My pain has gone down drastically. I can make it through the day without having to take a nap usually. So even though these milestones of progress may seem small and dismal, my body's working so hard, and so is yours, every single day to keep you alive, to do whatever it can do to help you live and heal and be in balance. So when we're fighting against ourselves, that could be so emotionally taxing on top of the burden that we're already feeling. So how can you take a step back and look at some of the things that have happened, some of the changes that you've made, some of the mindset shifts you've had, some of the behaviors that you've changed, whether they're eating habits or sleeping habits or not stressing so much or phoning a friend when you need. We really need to be a little bit more reflective and aware of all of the great things that we are doing every single day to show up for ourselves. And that is received so much better on our bodies and on our nervous systems than the stress and the, oh my God, why aren't we there yet? Sometimes I picture these little elves in my body, little smurfs, and they're working tirelessly 24/7 to repair things from surgery, to repair injury, to repair an infection that we may have caught. Whatever it is, they're constantly working for us. And when they hear our thoughts say, oh my God, we're not there yet, I picture them being like, well, F you, we're working, not being so hard on us, showing yourself some compassion, being grateful for all that your body is doing for you every day can really shift and change things around. Reflecting back on this incredibly pivotal, challenging in a lot of ways year for me, being the Thanksgiving holiday this week, I feel like there is so much that I want to quickly give gratitude for. For every person who, one, has checked in on me this year in any form, a call, a text message, a drop by physically, a FaceTime, social media comment. I appreciate every single one. I have to remind myself how many people are in my corner. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for keeping me afloat. For all the people who watch these episodes, who listen, who share them with friends, you have no idea how much this means to me. This is a passion project that sometimes feels really hard to show up for. Especially when the days feel like they're stacked against you or something physically comes up or you're mentally just not there with the energy and the bandwidth. But I am really enjoying this process and I want to keep it going. The best thing you can do is continue to share. I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful and also proud of myself because this vision is something that I've had for years now. I never thought it would unfold in the way that it did, where I'm sitting here talking about my cancer journey, but here we are. And I've grown a lot in this process to be able to start this podcast, to show up and do it every single week and commit to it has been a really big deal for me and also a really big win in a year that feels like there's been a lot to get through. I am, of course, so grateful for my incredible surgeon for believing in team and believing in me and my vision of getting out as strong as possible on the other side of that incredibly, incredibly complicated surgery back in February. And for all of my healers and doctors, my acupuncturist, my osteopath, my therapist, every person that I've interviewed on this podcast who has spent some time with me sharing what you're passionate about and helping to educate others on this platform. No effort goes unseen by me. It is something that I'm constantly humbled by. And when I think about it, it really brings me to tears. Every person that I've connected with in the last year and a half who has been also diagnosed with cancer. I've met a lot of young people, and it breaks my heart that are going through similar journeys. And there are friends that I have lost on this journey. And it's gutting. It's devastating. But I think the power of that support system and having people who get it and who can understand where you're coming from when you feel like you're really in the trenches. I say, Mama girls, I love you. Every single person across social media or who I know personally who is going through this fight for their life, I love you all. And I have been praying more than ever the last 2 years, and I certainly pray for peace of mind and true healing for everybody. My friends and my family, especially my friends who don't give up on me if I cancel my plans or who have been patient with me if I am not ready to talk about things, who just continue to show up and show me love. I can be so hard on myself, recognizing how much I have had to dial back as a supportive human being, as a sister, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, as a coach. So the fact that everyone has just been so supportive, I'm so grateful. And last but not least, shout out to my incredible husband. I am not going to cry. He knows how much, Nick, you mean everything to me. We're in this day in, day out, for better, for worse. He shows up for me every single day. And no matter what's going on with him, he chooses to see the glass half full and remind me the power of my mind and the power of taking action and the power of just believing in our future and the love and bond that has been strengthened between the two of us the last 2 years is something that I will be forever blown away by and forever grateful for. So this Thanksgiving, I encourage you all to take some time to reflect on your year, to reflect on what it is or who it is that you're grateful for. And if you're feeling like you want to throw in the towel, One, know that you're a human and that is a natural feeling. But two, reach for those moments of joy, just like we talked about. Reach for that next best thought. Share with people, connect with people. I think connection and nature are two things that I've realized. One, I really need more of in my life. And two, they're so important. Let's all just take a moment right now, like bring a little bit of joy to ourselves. Movement for me always feels so good. So let's take a moment to do both. First, we're just going to shake off the stress, shake off whatever is coming around the corner with the holiday season, shake off the crappy beliefs that maybe you've been holding on to. Pause. Now we're going to take 3 deep breaths together to close out this episode. Just one hand over your heart, the other over your belly. Take a deep breath in for 3 counts. We're going to exhale for 4. Here we go. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And last one, inhale, exhale. Know that every day is an opportunity to start anew. Every day is a new opportunity to love yourself, to heal, to change your thoughts, to shift your habits, to shift your focus, to shift your perspective. And no, it's not always easy, but know that when you wake up in the morning, open your eyes, you have air in your lungs, you have a beating heart, this is your chance to start anew and write a new chapter. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Please share this episode with somebody who needs it. This may be the last episode as I'm sharing this for season 3, and we will be back in the new year with some fresh new perspectives, conversations. I want you all to enjoy the holiday season. I know it's a time of busyness. I hope it's also a time of joy and a time of connection with your loved ones. Thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll see you in the new year.
Imagine waking up each day feeling seen, valued, and fully present in your own life. Imagine speaking clearly and confidently, asking for what you need without the guilt. Imagine feeling grounded and expressive in every room you enter, no longer shrinking, hiding, or waiting for someone else to recognize your worth. This is what becomes possible when you rewrite the invisibility patterns at the root. My friend Leah Crescenzo, a hypnotherapist and coach that you may remember from our incredible conversation about the subconscious mind a few episodes back, is releasing a brand new program to help you rewrite your invisibility. What is this Rewrite Invisibility program? It's a 4-phase transformational experience that dissolves the invisibility pattern at every level. You will learn how to present yourself, express your needs, show up with confidence, and build a life where your voice and identity are honored. This work is deep, precise, and powerful because it addresses the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the body, and your real-world patterns. This experience helps you understand how the invisibility pattern is formed, heal the subconscious wound at the root, rewrite your internal story and identity, learn how to express yourself clearly and confidently, build skills and boundaries that allow visibility to feel safe, show up with presence in relationships, work, and life, create an inner sense of worthiness that is self-generated and steady. So here's what you get in the program: 4 comprehensive modules, video teachings, 2 powerful hypnosis and healing sessions, which I can speak from my own experience are so incredibly powerful, subconscious healing sessions, confident visibility hypnosis, daily reprogramming audios, guided somatic exercises, full workbook with journaling prompts, visibility action plan template, and 1-year access to all of this content. Now, when you join before Friday, December 5th, so that's 1 week from this Friday, December 5th, 2025, you will also receive a 60-day visibility circle on Telegram, one 75-minute group coaching call focused on visibility and voice, a gentle 7-day Be Seen challenge with simple, doable daily prompts, and this bonus package helps you practice visibility inside safe and supportive containers so the deeper identity work integrates that much more rapidly. So if this program sounds intriguing to you, I highly encourage you to check it out. Head on over to www.heyleahc, that's HEYLEAHC.com, and use code JAMIE10, that's JAMIE10, to get 10% off this visibility program. Offer expires again on Friday, December 5th. You do not want to miss this. Leah's work is so incredibly powerful and impactful, and I promise you, you will enjoy every second of it. So that code JAMIE10 gets 10% off of your program package, valid through Friday, December 5th, 2025. Thank you for tuning in, friends, and I hope you find it helpful. Did you enjoy this episode? If so, I would appreciate you taking a moment to please leave a 5-star review. Every review helps visibility with this episode to reach more people, and I am on a mission to help people learn alternate resources to support themselves in their healing journey on their road to health. So please take a moment to leave a review, leave a comment. I read every single one and I respond back. And of course, the most helpful thing you can do is to share this episode. If you found it helpful, if you found it entertaining, please share it on social media, send it to a friend, a loved one, someone you think could find this helpful. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon.